Hey guys, welcome to the first installment of my YouTube tutorial series on the M-Class series in Reason. Today I'm going to go over the EQ, the equalizer, and then I'll go over the compressor, the stereo imager, and the maximizer. So I really have been looking forward to doing this for a long time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Just because I remember when I first started the M-Class series, whenever I opened the tool kit and looked at it, the M-Class series was just, it was not only confusing, it was terrifying. Oh no, that's the yellow stuff. I don't want any of that. No, I don't. So today I'm gonna try and explain what the EQ is and some techniques that I like to use in every single one of my tracks. So yeah, let's get started. So for this entire tutorial series, I'm going to be using this track I put together, and we're going to add M classes to every track and the master eventually to make this sound a lot better than it is right now. A lot better quality, put some cool tips and tricks in there. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. So yeah, it could be brought out a lot more, of course, by every means. So what I'm going to do right now is, I don't know why there's one created in here already, but let's create one now. Alright, so as you can see, and first of all, an equalizer, this equalizer contains several parametric EQ functions. So you can sweep through the frequency spectrum, bring out or bring down specific frequencies and frequency ranges that you want or don't want. That's one of the multiple uses for EQ. As you can see, there's the low shelf, parameter 1, parameter 2, and high shelf. First, we're going to go over the parameters and the low cut, but we'll go over that later. First, let's go over the parameters. Parameter 1, first of all, you have to activate the parameters for them to actually do anything. As you can see on all of these, there's frequency, gain, and Q. The frequency adjusts exactly what it sounds like, which frequency range you are modifying. If I move it without moving any of these other knobs, you won't be able to see anything over in here in the visual section. That's because I haven't done anything with these frequencies. Now if I, say, turn the gain up a little bit, you can see there's a little rise here. And if I move it around, it's adjusting which frequency range that I'm modifying. Now the Q, that adjusts the width of the frequency range that we've picked out. If I move it all the way to the left, you can see that this little rise here is getting thinner. If I move it to the right, if I move it to the right, it gets thinner. If I move it to the left, it gets wider. Very wide. It can get all the way over there. So, all of these the same they work all the same on parameter 2 as they do on parameter 1. Now, if I turn this off, and the low shelf and high shelf, they're a bit different, although they do still have the same functions. The frequency does still modify which frequency range you're adjusting, but only, since it's the low shelf, only 30 hertz to 600 hertz it's going to be modifying. If I say I want to take the low out, I move the gain down, and if I move the frequency to the right, you can see it's modifying more of the frequency spectrum. If I move to the left, it's modifying less. Now the Q, now in the low shelf, the Q modifies the slope. As you can see, if I move it to the right, it's a very steep exponential slope. If I move it all the way to the left, it's a linear slope. And this works the same for the high shelf. The low cut, very simple. All it does is remove frequencies below 30 hertz. So this is very useful in mastering and making basses, especially if you have another sub bass that you want to add on. It reduces any rumbles, that could come out from the low shelf. If you turn it on and off, you will not be able to hear a difference for the life of you. But most likely, but if you master it and you bring out the levels, the rumbling can get very, very prominent, and it can turn a really good track into just a really bad sounding quality track. So, if I press tab, it's only two options here in Reason: audio output, audio input. So if hopefully I've explained the EQ in quickly. If you guys have any questions about that, put it in the comments. But for now, I'm going to move on to some theories and techniques and tips that I use in every track, and we're going to improve this track here. I'm going to go over a few techniques that I like to use. First, starting with one using the main synth. What I'm going to do is create an EQ in here. And I'm going to add a sub bass. I'm going to take away the bass from the bass frequencies from this synth, and I'm going to add a sub bass. I have one going, but I want to be able to turn that up and take the low frequencies out of this. So first thing I'm going to do is activate the low cut, and then I'm going to activate the low shelf, turn the frequency down, and I don't want it to affect too much out here, so I'm going to leave it about over here towards the left a little bit. And then I'm going to take the gain. It's already all the way down. I might want to... No, I'm going to keep it... Yeah, I'll keep it all the way down. And I'm going to take the Q, and I'm going to turn it all the way to the left. Now what I'm going to do is activate parameter 1, bring down the gain, and move the frequency over here. So as you can see now, it's completely gone over there. Also, what I'm going to do is activate parameter 2. You can adjust, when you do this, you can adjust the Q however you want, the width. So I am going to do this again, just put the frequency over here. And as you can see now, there's no low end here. It cuts off, basically drops off the end of the earth, which is exactly what I wanted. As you can see, I'm also going to add a little high end, just to bring out cool talking bass that I like. Anyway, as you can see, if I bypass, as you can hear rather, and then turn it back on, there is no more bass, which is good because now let's solo the sub bass here with it. Maybe turn it up a little bit. And now the low bass, the low end from the sub bass, makes up for the low end that I cut. And it's going to be a lot cleaner in the mix. That's one technique. Another technique I'm going to cover involves EQing the drums. So I'm going to solo them. Pretty standard. What we're going to monitor here and modify is the bass drum especially. First of all, I'm going to activate the low cut on the drums because I'd like to do that just in case there is any funny business with the bass drum that I can't really tell. And now I'm going to activate parameter 1. And basically what I want is that bass drum to be brought out more. I like it, but it needs to be a little bit more funky, a little more prominent. So I'm going to up the gain just a little bit, probably about, I don't know, first we're going to go all the way. And with the Q you can leave about the same, about in the middle here. And I'm going to bring it all the way back here. And I'm going to play the track and listen until I hear the booming of the bass drum brought out. Alright, so as you can hear right here, it's getting distorted. That means, either way it's going to, because I'm bringing out a lot of frequency here. But I don't want that sound brought out. I don't want the main part of the bass drum brought out. I just want the sub bass of the bass drum, the really low end. So let's move the frequency down here until we find a good area. I think about there is good. So I'm gonna bring the gain down. I don't want it brought out like crap ton. Probably about 6. You will not be able to hear much of a difference yet. But once you bring it out in mastering, you'll be able to hear a lot of difference. Let's bypass it. You should be able to hear a bit of a difference. As you can hear, there's a little bit more punch to the bass drum, which is exactly what we were going for. The next technique I'm going to show you we're going to go back to the main synth again. And this is what I like to call, or many people, the sweeping technique. Let's solo the lead again. And we're going to add another EQ. You can always minimize this if you want, but I'll leave it open for now. Anyway, what we're going to do now with the sweeping technique is we're going to look for specific frequencies that we do not want. In every synth, there's going to be a few, most likely, that when brought out just do not sound good. And if you bring those down, it'll make the quality of your synth even better. So, what we're going to do is activate parameter 1, put the gain all the way up, and put the EQ all the way to the right, so it's the thinnest it can possibly get. And we're going to sweep through the spectrum here and find any frequencies that sound bad to us. To clarify, all of them are going to sound out of place, but we're looking for ones that are specifically painful or ringy, especially ringy or high-pitched or just something, or tonal, that really do not sound good and go with a synth. So, let's play it and sweep through. You might want to go slower than this, but there's one. As you can hear, it's kind of ringy and painful. We don't want that, so we're gonna bring the gain all the way down. Now, what this does is not it brings down this frequency, and if you I'm gonna listen carefully here, turn it on and off, you will be able to hear a slight difference. Trouble is, it's not necessarily a good difference. So what I'm gonna do, I don't want all of that frequency taken out because it takes away from the synth. So what I'm gonna do is just put it about halfway down. So it won't be, so if we master it, it shouldn't bring out any bad frequencies in it, and if and it'll still have the bass frequency there, about 625 hertz that we want. And you can do this again, and we'll do it one more time for safe measure. I know there are multiple in here that I do not like that one. That one's especially bad. Oh! God, that was horrible. So yeah, headphone users beware. Sorry, it's a bit late. But now what we're going to do is we're going to bring that down. We might want to bring it down most of the way this time. Problem is, we don't want to, because if you can listen, it does bring down some of the tonal elements from the synth. So what I'm going to do is just bring it down about halfway again. A little less, actually, because we still want that tonal sound. And now it's hard to notice the difference when we turn it on and off. So that's perfect. The last technique I'm going to show you involves this remix I did for Far Too Loud for the Far Too Loud remix contest. Sadly, it didn't win, but I'll probably release it for free download if you guys want it. I'll play it for So, what I'm showing you is this growl I made with the PX7. Let me find it, frankly. There's a lot of shit in here. Sorry. Fuck. Which one is it? There's a lot of them. I think it's this one. Yes. Alright. Basically, what I did here is I'm going to bypass... I did another sweeping technique, as you can see. I routed the LFO in a Thor to control the frequency here by connecting it to our rotary. You don't have to do this. I just routed it because it was easier, but you could easily just manually sweep through. Like, it spazzes out when I do it this way, obviously, but if you guys want to learn how to do that, that's a more complicated wiring thing, and I'm not going over that right now, but imagine I'm sweeping this manually, basically. If I bypass this and listen just to this growl that I made, hold on. It's not even a growl. But when I add this EQ, now if I take it away, so yeah, it really brings out, what it's doing is it's bringing out specific frequencies. So what I did was I boosted the low shelf a little bit, took parameter 2, put the Q all the way to the left, so it's very thin. I mean, sorry, it's very wide. And if I bypass this, you'll be able to see what I did. I brought down these frequencies, so when this one goes over it, it brings it out again. If I were to bypass this and just have it like this, it's much kind of lamer. But I put it like this, more pronounced. So, and you can have this at whatever length you want if you want. Obviously, the thinner you get, the less pronounced you get, and the wider you get, the more ridiculous it gets. So yeah, you gotta find that sweet spot. But EQ scooping is something I've been using a lot lately, and it's really cool. It's really fun. You can add this onto most any synthesizer, and it can make it sound really interesting. Do something like this. So that's the last technique I'm going to show you guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Yes, my desktop is seriously fucked. That's how I work. Whoops. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and EQ some other tracks of these, but you guys don't have to bear with me through that. Just a few others, maybe the guitar, and then next we're gonna move on probably to probably compression or stereo imaging next. So yeah, thanks for watching, and subscribe for sure if you want to see more, and see you next time.